Alex Jones must pay the Sandy Hook families $965 million in second defamation trial. So Alex Jones was ordered to pay basically $1 billion to families of victims of the Sandy Hook massacre by a Connecticut jury on Wednesday. And the second defamation ruling against the conspiracy theorist for his claims that the 2012 mass shooting was a hoax. The far right InfoWars host, although he's not necessarily far right, has repeatedly claimed the shooting was a media fabrication, denying that gunman Adam Lanza slaughtered 26 people at the elementary school and then himself on December 14th, 2012. Families of the victims said Jones profited off their suffering, amassing tens of millions of dollars by repeating the lies that drove clicks to his website InfoWars and helped him hawk merchandise. Now, the only thing is, basically every single news outlet can be accused of doing this as well. So let's see. The parents wept while the damages were being read. Each of the plaintiffs was awarded a different amount for defamation and personal damages, but all were awarded tens of millions of dollars. Every single one of these families was drowning in grief, and Alex Jones put his foot right on top of them, attorney Chris Mattei told the jury during the trial. Meanwhile, Jones' lawyer, Norman Pattis, insisted the trial was not a case about politics. The family said Jones harassed them and sicked his followers on them, leading to death threats. Multiple parents of murdered children testified during the trial, recounting the pain and torture Jones inflicted on them while they were already grieving. Jones acknowledged the shooting while testifying but derided the judge and said the case was a Democrat-led conspiracy to end his career. I've already said I'm sorry hundreds of times, and I'm done saying I'm sorry, he told the jury. Jones was not present as the verdict was read and mocked the verdict on InfoWars while it was being read. Hey folks, don't go buying big homes, he said, insisting he wouldn't be paying their nearly $1 billion sum. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't really understand about these types of situations. They might be like awarded the $1 billion sum inside the trial court hearing, but depending on the state's rules, the most that they might be able to get might be a couple $100,000 per person. Or it might be a couple $100,000 for the whole case. So he's not going to be paying basically anywhere near this $1 billion sum, depending on the state's rules. I'm guessing. In August, an Austin, Texas jury ordered him to pay $49.3 million to Sandy Hook parents in a defamation trial with different plaintiffs. And basically, I mean, the main thing to really get is like this is pretty much all for like publicity because there's again no way that he's actually going to be paying $1 billion, which means that his comment kind of rings true for all the victims or all the family members that are like basically a part of this whole case. Do not act like you just won the lottery because you're probably not going to be getting anywhere near what you think you might be getting. And if you end up spending money that you do not have and you go into massive amounts of debt, maybe even bankruptcy, because you spent money that you did not have but you thought that you were going to get, you could end up financially destroying your life after already having to deal with all of this nonsense. So let's see some of these comments. Telling the truth at times comes with a heavy price. As told by my mother, no one died. Good. Alex Jones was a fringe guy on the internet before Sandy Hook. His despicable and unconscionable lies about them being actors, fake mourning the death of their dear children, brought him fame and money. And now those lies have taken the same fame and money away. Could it happen to a better bag of complete filth. The thing is, this definitely didn't take away all of his money. Let's see. In all likelihood, he will never end up paying even remotely close to that verdict amount. They might as well have awarded damages to be paid in square footage of property on planet Mercury. Every victim of a crime after 2020 should get $1 million from everyone who said defund the police. Does he have the monies to pay? He definitely has a lot of money. I bet you that he probably, in total, has like over $100 million to his name, but he is not going to be paying probably even more than 10 million total. Ba 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 ba. I'm not a huge fan of his, but whatever happened to freedom of speech? He voiced his opinion, whether ridiculous or not. Those people weren't physically harmed or threatened by his words. This wasn't a case of screaming fire in a crowded theater. Let's see. The guy had absolutely nothing to do with the shooting, and yet the greedy lawyers went after him anyways. So what? The guy can be a loudmouth. It's his nature. He can be very insensitive. Is still him going to be bringing back those kids? Let's see. Good luck collecting any money. Jones' lawyers will appeal for years and drain most available cash with their legal fees. Let's see. $965 million for this? Yeah, okay. LOL. Good luck collecting. And yeah, that's the thing. Like, again, he is going to basically never pay this amount of money. This is purely to get headlines and to get clicks. Purely. Let's see. They likely will, since he is insured or his company is insured. No, like even if he has like massive amounts of insurance, there's no way he's paying close to $1 billion, or is insurance going to pay that? And yeah, see, like I think a lot of people don't really understand how this sort of thing goes. There's usually like a cap as to what is even remotely allowed to be awarded to someone, and it's nowhere near this amount. It's far lower. Like again, I doubt in total he would pay more than $10 million in total. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even pay more than $2 million for this whole fiasco. Meaning, this would literally have no impact on him, like financially speaking, because we're talking about a guy who probably is worth nine figures. But like the main thing to really understand about this whole situation isn't necessarily about like Alex Jones, because Alex Jones isn't really going to be affected about this, but it's to keep in mind that even though maybe a court will be saying that like, hey, you're going to be awarded this amount of money in court, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what it actually is going to be truly deposited into your bank account, because the state will probably have a cap, meaning that the actual amount that you will actually be given after everything's said and done would be whatever. Let's see. Ba. I had a case against a former employer, and the federal judge in Atlanta ordered them to pay me half a million bucks with interest. That was 25 years ago. I never saw a dime, and yes, it went on for years. That's why I think they will never see any money. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people seem to not really understand how it really works. Should have made it to $10 billion, not like they're going to get it anyway. They could have maybe collected even upwards of 100 million from this man because I believe he did wrong to these families. He speaks a lot of truth. This, however, was not one of them. Instead, though, they had to make it a ridiculous 1 billion, knowing he doesn't have it, so the attorneys can fight over it over the next decade or so, thus therefore collecting the majority of the money for themselves. Blah 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 blah. The thing is, I don't even think he's going to even necessarily have to fight it. He's just probably going to pay the cap of what the state is. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I don't really see anything else necessarily about this, but it's something to keep in mind, right? Anytime you get awarded a big amount of money in a legal setting, whether it be from like a lawsuit, like let's say that you got like hit in a car accident and you have been awarded like $10 million. Well, just because it says that you've been awarded $10 million doesn't necessarily mean you're actually going to get that full amount. Your state might actually only allow for you to receive up to $5 million in a, like basically a car accident setting, right? So it's just something to really keep in mind. Don't view this like a guarantee until this stuff is actually deposited into your bank account, whether it be, any sort of big windfall like insurance settlement, lawsuit, uh, inheritance, until that money is quite literally deposited into your account, it doesn't exist. So just keep that in mind. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, go down below and learn how to get out of debt.